everyone, I'm absolutely ecstatic to tell you that Jade's book finally arrived! Ever since I found out she was publishing a book on YouTube, I absolutely went straight to pre-order, and I've been tracking my parcel for 2 to 3 days now, and finally it's arrived in the mail, and I just rushed out to get it, and then I had to film this reaction because I was so excited. So a little background information on who Jade is. So she is one of my favorite YouTubers and also study YouTubers of all time, and I've been following her since her GCSE days. And I kind of expected the book to be a little bit smaller, but I'm kind of really happy that it's kind of this size because it's easy to flip through. And actually, I really like the color she chose because I think it resonates with her name Jade, because jades are light green and this book is light green, and I just really love it. Just look at this book, and I haven't read it yet, but I will definitely read it very soon. And I'm just so proud of Jade. I'm so proud of her for accomplishing everything that she did, and now she is a published author as well. And congratulations, Jade, on having your book next to Michelle Obama's book. You absolutely deserve it. I really like Jade because she has this kind and bubbly personality, and she doesn't just show us the glamorous and successful parts of her academic journey, but she also shows us her hardships, her failures, her struggles. And to be able to show this online and also on a public platform like YouTube demands a lot of courage, especially in this world where struggles are considered weaknesses when actually they're just a part of the journey to success. And I have admired Jade for a long time because of this, and her personality really shone through in this book, and some of the experience she has never shared online before were disclosed in this book. And I felt like I know Jade beyond her channel and beyond my computer screen, and reading about her experiences made me feel like I had a deeper connection with her. So back to the book. So this book is very Jade. Well, obviously because she wrote it, but I can visualize her telling me all the stuff in the book when I'm reading this. So it's more like a conversation between me and her instead of just me reading the book, which I really like. So the book is divided into 13 chapters, and it includes a detailed breakdown of why we study, how to study, what to study, and when to study. And what I really like about this book is at the end of each chapter, there is an action box, which Jade asks us to complete some tasks according to the content she previously discussed in this chapter. And I think it's a really good way to build connections or carry out interactions with your readers. Moreover, at the end of each chapter, we get advice from different accomplished academics like Jack Edwards, Ali, Ruby Granger, Eve Bennett, and so on. So we get a wider range of advice from different people, and I think Jade does this because she wants to restates the point that all people struggle, even the best, the more successful people struggle. So it's necessary that we take care of ourselves and also not be too hard on ourselves when we go through this journey of being a student. So Jade talks about why we study. So she talks about the educational system and why it was established, and I did not know any of this before. So I think throughout the whole book, Jade gives us more information, more knowledge from different aspects or different areas instead of the indicated knowledge about exams, which is stated in this book. For example, Jade uses a variety of different knowledge from different areas to showcase how her studying method works. So she talks about the educational system here, and she also talks about how in politics there's a process called drafting the bill, and then it goes through a lot of processes before there is a royal consent, and then the bill can be made into a law. And I did not know any of this, and I think it's quite a desirable trait to be able to learn new knowledge except for the indicated knowledge, which is like exam tips or exam revision techniques. And I think it's also a good thing about this book. So the reason why an educational system was established was because during the Industrial Revolution, the factory owners were in need of obedient workers, so they established an educational system to make or produce obedient workers. So the educational system trained discipline instead of developing a love for learning. So it's normal to feel drained by this educational system because it was not designed to make you fall in love with learning. So Jade talks about how she viewed this educational system as like a game, and then she teaches us techniques and also tips on how to tackle it because she doesn't want to let the educational system win. She talks about this framework which she created, which is called SAAD, which is SAAD, and it stands for spaced repetition, active recall, association, and also desirable difficulty. And she talks about 10 studying methods that works for her. She talks about how aesthetics is the main thing for flashcards, how only the main points should be included in the flashcards and not chunky text. And then she talks about Sherlock's mind palace. Yes, I'm a Sherlock fan, so I will be talking about this point here. So she talks about how we can relate concepts that we are unfamiliar with familiar physical objects. So for example, the objects in our room. So when we visualize ourselves walking through our room, we see the physical objects, and that stimulates us to remember the flow of the concepts. And then how we can tell a story when writing a process. And then there is this basic essay structure that Jade talked about in her book, and it is basically introductions, similarities, differences, and also conclusions, and also the word peel, P-E-E-L. So first you have to write a point, and then you need to give some evidence, and then you have to explain why these evidence is related to the point, and then lastly you have to link back to the question. So you have to conclude everything and restate why it is related to the point and also the question. As in where to study, Jade encourages us to set up a distinct location for us to do different tasks. So for example, we can establish this desk as our working zone, and when we lay in our bed is the resting zone. So we are training our minds to develop a routine. When we sit down at a place or lie down at a place, then we're trained to do certain actions and do it without distractions. And also Jade states that if you do not have a lot of room, you can actually use posture to relate to actions. So for example, if you're sitting up straight, then you're working. If you are scrolling through your phone, you should be standing up. If you're lying down, you should be sleeping. So it is actually another way you can train your brain to relate a physical action to a physical task you need to do, so you can do it without distractions. So apart from these exam techniques or essay writing techniques that Jade talks about, which are the more tangible outcomes or gains you'll get from this book, she also talks a lot about the intangible things. So for example, she talks about importance of meditation, she talks about mindset, she talks about mental health. And she's a real big advocate for mental health. I could see like throughout her channel and also in this book. She talks about mental health like the weather. So it will always be there, and we have to be prepared for it. Like it will always be there. And no matter how negative your feelings are or how terrible you feel, remember those feelings are real and your feelings are validated. So do not feel guilty or ashamed when you're feeling sad or feeling low when you wake up, because that's part of human nature. You allow yourself to embrace and feel those feelings, and you'll be alright. While I think the target audience for this book might be for high school students or people who just started university, I think this book is actually suitable for people across all age groups to read, because some of the things that Jade discussed, apart from the exam-oriented tips or techniques, she talks about things that can be applied to throughout your whole life. Her views and points are quite inspiring, and she taught me to have a different outlook or different perspective when viewing certain situations. So there was a part where she talks about how rejection is actually redirection. So you getting rejected from something you want to achieve or you want to get into that university, for example, is not an indication of how terrible you are, but a redirection onto a better path towards something that's more suitable for you. And also having this positive mindset when learning something. So Jade taught us when we don't know something, we add the word yet at the end of the sentence. So instead of saying, I don't know how to do this math problem, or I don't know why this essay is written that way, we say it, I don't know how to do this math problem yet. And this gives us a vision of how we do not know it now, but we will know it later on. And this gives us a positive attitude towards learning, which will more likely make our learning experience more fun, and you're more likely to finish the work that you have set out to finish. I'm not even kidding, this book is one of the best study guide I've ever read. I don't know if it's because I really like Jade, but I think it's also very relatable to me since I've gone through this process myself, and I've also used some of the techniques that she talked about, and it's really, really effective. I finished this book in just 2 days, which is an indication of how I really, really like this book and how I couldn't put it down. And personally, it's a record best because I've never been able to finish a book that quickly. So I give this book 5 stars on both Amazon and also Goodreads. So if you want to buy Jade's book and show her some support, the link for her book is down in the description box, and give her some love, show her some love. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more of these kind of book review content, and I'll see you next time with another book review.